Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Carrie's Corner. I have got Clive Eksteen in the studio with me. Hi, Clive.
Carrie, are you well?
I'm good, thank you. So, I need to tell everybody that when I was a very young mommy, Clive Eksteen was all the girls' heartthrob. He was sort of Mr. Cricket in South Africa. I think you were I don't know, I'm not very good at these cricket terms, but I think you were a swing bowler. I think you were a left-arm spinner, maybe. I don't know, what were you? I can't remember now.
I was a left-arm spinner, and that was a long time ago. And I don't know if that's having a go at you or me.
I think it's me, Clive. I'll concede my child is 35 years old, and so it is a long time ago, and I was a young mum then. But you've come a long way from, well, you were famous then, you're even more famous now.
I wasn't famous then, Carrie, and I'm certainly not famous now, but it's a long time ago, great journey. And yeah, our paths cross here at BizNews.
I know.
It's crazy.
May I poke the bear quickly and say, what do you think about what's going on in cricket at the moment? Or is that verboten?
No, it's not. For me, watching the team play against India, and I know they having lost the first test and actually having not played well the first day of the first test. The rest of the time they played superbly and fought back, won the series, won the first ODI.
Yes.
They what I like about the team is that they've got fight and they don't go down easily. And if it's against them, they still fight. And I think that's what we
sends out
need
a great
from
message.
them,
I think that sport needs to be depoliticized, and we need to use it for all those things. I mean, do you remember that joie de vivre when we won the World Cup? Do you remember that rugby? Do you remember? It's just been amazing. It's a big unifier.
Completely, but you'll never depoliticize it, unfortunately.
It's becoming worse, isn't it?
I don't know if it's not good. But certainly you're not going to get rid of it, but you've got to make it work within the system. And sport, it doesn't matter if it's cricket or rugby, it's there for the players. That's the priority.
Absolutely.
And us as fans want to get behind the team. It's actually not about anyone else. It's not about board members. It's not about administration.
Absolutely spot on.
And the players are the guys and girls that we support, and we've got a fantastic ladies team. The Protea women's team is a very, very good team. Is it? It's a very good team.
I don't think I've ever watched the girls because I'm a bit old-fashioned. I love watching boys play cricket.
The skill of the ladies is unbelievable.
Yes.
And it's watching them. It's been obviously over time, women's sport is getting a lot more exposure, rightfully so. And do yourself a favour, watch.
Can they bowl as quickly as boys do? And can they bat as hard?
No, they can't. They're physically not that strong. But we've got one or two quick bowlers who are as quick as anything in the world in women's sport. And we've got some very, very good players, and we've got a world-class side.
Okay, well, there's something for everybody to think about. We're going to watch some women's cricket.
Yeah, and watching, the men's team fight, as I referred to earlier, I think as South Africans, that's what we want to. Obviously, we want to win. We're a nation, a very proud nation, and the team has certainly shown that, and both our teams are very competitive worldwide.
Yeah, we're not used to losing.
No.
South Africa has produced some amazing sportsmen. You're one of them. So, guys, I'm in conversation with Clive, actually, for Carrie's Corner. And as he said, fate sort of threw us together in a little path that met at a roundabout called BizNews. And last year, Clive and Alec and Stuart said to me, why don't we try and mix the two talents and put a wine shop of some description together, which is what we've done. We did it in September, just before, in fact, I had COVID, but you boys launched the wine club at the BizNews conference last year.
Yeah, we were fortunate. It wasn't, when I got told that you're not attending the conference, thankfully we had Andrew Gunn from
Yes, talk to me
owner,
about Andrew Gunn, because he was our first founder member, wasn't he?
Well, thankfully we had Andrew. You know, you very friendly. You've known Andrew for a long time. I hadn't met Andrew, and he came along to the conference, and I said to him, Carrie was gonna run the wine tasting. I certainly can't run it. I can stand up and say a few words and that, but Andrew, you've got to do it. And he stood up to the plate, and it's been fantastic to have him as one of our founding members of the wine shop, and our community love his wine.
They do.
And they've got behind it, and the wine shop's gone from strength to strength. And you said it, the joining of talents and that, and I think with BizNews we've got a very engaged community.
Yes.
And if we take your talents of curating, your knowledge of wine, and not only wine, but of wine, and your network of wine, it's a match made in heaven.
Well, I think also, Clive, and I've had a lot of people say to me, how do we become part of this wine club? Do we have to be a BizNews member? And the answer is absolutely, you have to be a member of BizNews. The answer, the reality is that anybody can actually buy wine in the BizNews shop. But elucidate for everybody how this little wine shop works.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. You, at the top of our homepage on biznews.com, there's a tab there for the wine shop. You go into our shop, actually. It's not the wine shop. There's a BizNews shop.
Yes.
And within the shop, you've got wine as one of the things that we sell.
And you've put books in there now.
Or
are they about to?
We're moving to books.
I'm excited. I love the thought. I love the thought of that.
Well, one of the thoughts is to combine books and wine. So you'll get a box of wine and a book.
And a good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you go in there and you click on which wine farm you want to buy the wine from.
Yeah.
You select your wine. It's a pretty straightforward process. You pay for it online and it gets delivered. The one, we don't handle any of the wine, as you know. It comes directly from the farm.
Yes.
So if you buy from multiple farms, you will get
multiple deliveries.
Yeah, and they're within a day or two of each other, so it's not too. But you won't get all your wine in one.
Quite right.
Hit.
Yeah, quite right. So the thinking that we've had behind the shop is to try and put together a basket of goodies that brings, because the BizNews community is really the fulcrum of everything. And with them in mind, you wanted to specifically bring them a basket of goodies that includes wine appreciation, food, new restaurants on the block, food and wine pairing, wine tours, cycling. We've just added Wildekrans to our shop.
Yeah.
And we chose that specifically with your covert travel agent in mind. Tell us about that.
Well, it goes back a little way, and obviously you and I have had many chats about it, but you know, especially us guys up here us people up here on the Highveld, the Cape is just sensational.
I know.
And I love Joburg, but I love to go to Cape Town every now and then. And having had the discussion with yourself and Wayne and a few others, Wayne from Wildekrans, there's a great opportunity for us to do a wine tour. And it's going to our partner wine farms, getting to meet the owners, the winemakers. You know, all of them have great places to eat. Some have accommodation, and the idea is we'll look after it from beginning to end.
Yes.
And also with our community, engage with our community, and work towards growing the BizNews experience, I'd say.
Well, if you have a look, and if anybody chooses to go online, we've just put out this week's newsletter, which outlines everything that Clive's speaking about now. If you go, and I think that's going to be our first sort of little sojourn, really, to the Cape for anybody who wants to join, the farms have so much to offer. I mean, I was just looking into the Wildekrans experience, which is wine, appreciation. So there's cellar and barrel tasting. There is cellar tour. There's vineyard tour. There's a absolutely superb restaurant on the farm, which is called, I can't remember now, but it's something like Roots and Shoots or something. But it's called Forage. And it's called Forage because the cook goes out into the mountains every day. Don't forget, we're in the sort of basin of the Overberg there. And the cook and his wife go out and they forage for mushrooms and herbs and plants and this and that. So everything in that restaurant is fresh on the day. And we thought even of doing a little BizNews endorsed introduction to wine whilst they're there. Drive through the vineyards, look at all the vines. 10, 15 minutes from Hermanus. Seasonally, there's potentially whale watching. There's cycling for people who do that. I don't, but cycling. I just sit in the restaurant and have a glass of wine. But
it's also, Carrie, it's us getting behind. We've got a phenomenal wine industry.
Yeah.
And it got smashed during COVID.
Yeah.
And I think with us as from our platform and the BizNews network, if we can in our way help and really get it back and play a little part in helping the industry really get back on its feet, because it's world class.
It's absolutely world class, and I think that this might be an opportune time to actually thank BizNews for what it's done to date, because, no joking, my little Carrie's Corner every single week, where we chat to the wineries, we speak to them, we put them out there, we ask everybody to support, we give them as much coverage. There are not many people who do that for the wine industry, so a great big shout out to BizNews. We don't charge anybody for anything of that sort to date. It's been completely altruistic in a desperate attempt to try and give the wine industry that leg up that you're talking about.
And it's actually a privilege to be able to do that. But, your knowledge and I go back to it, your network within the industry, and it's really to serve our community. At the end of the day, we've got a phenomenal community, very engaged community, and independently thinking community. So for us, we saw it as a great opportunity to put good product in front of them and they make their choice.
Yes, and to that end, we've got 4 wineries in the shop at this stage of the game, which we sort of choose together, really.
Yeah.
And just give everybody an idea of why we choose them. We choose them because their wine's good, but...
Yeah, it's the wine's good.
The bottom line is Clive has to like them. Clive has to have fun with the owner or the winemaker, and then they're in.
Yeah, and it's funny how it started. So we started with Andrew at Iona, and we ended up with Kruta Post and Nick Pence
and they're brilliant, aren't
fantastic.
Well, I mean, you went and sort of hooked them in, didn't you?
Well, I don't know if I hooked them in or they hooked me in, but we hooked each other. And if you look at it on a map, it's quite far apart.
Yes.
Right. And then we got Frida and List,
which is
also
entry to Franschhoek, which is far away again.
Correct. And now we've got Wildekrans.
Which is near Hermanus,
Yeah, so we look at it geographically, and that's something that is your brainchild. And obviously you can't just keep that going because...
some of them will overlap.
Yes, correct. And then it's also a mixture of wine. And the beauty for me is that you can curate through your newsletter what we as the community
are going to drink.
Yeah, and should try, because what we end up doing, I think, is you get your wine, you like your wine, and you stick with your wine.
Yes.
But actually the great thing about wine is trying new ones.
It is, and it's almost like, again, when I was, a million years ago, when I was young, you chose your movie critic. Barry Ronger used to write about the movies, and I always knew if Barry had liked the movie, I was going to go and see that one. And that's sort of what we're trying to do here, where I don't want to put any wines into the BizNews Wine Shop that I wouldn't drink. So we want to choose a gorgeous selection, and we're not going to make it huge, are we?
No, the idea is not to. But I just wanted to touch on something where for me, why it's so important that we get great partners is if you are a BizNews community member and you go to that farm, it would be so good if you walked up to Andrew or Nick and said, I'm part of the BizNews community.
And you got spoiled.
You'll get royal treatment.
100%.
Yeah, and that's...
Yeah, I think I'll endorse that, because for me, in the life that I've lived in retail, the customer is king.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a queen. Even the women were king. The customer is king. No is not an option. And that's how you grow a business and a community that trusts you. So that for me is one of the most important things. And I know that BizNews has this customer-centric ethos. Yeah. And so those two fit together really, really nicely. And I do know that aside from you really getting on with the owner or the winemaker, the reality is that we choose like-minded people to work with.
Yeah.
And like-minded people who are BizNews members. And I hope that the wine club will bring a lot more like-minded people into the BizNews community. That's my hope.
Yeah, it will. And the other advantage we have is we encourage our wine partners, the farms, to give us an article or two a month.
Yes.
And that it's really there for them to tell us stuff that we don't know about them, like where did it start, the history. In a lot of the farms, there's a lot of history on the farm.
Huge. We've got nearly 400 years of history there and heritage.
And that we expose, and it's that type of thing. So almost like if I was it's nice to have something that most people don't know that you've read or heard on BizNews.
It's just you become friends of the farm. So, and I have absolutely no doubt that when the time comes, a little Eksteen Junior will probably get roped in to go and do a harvest on one of those farms. And BizNews community members can send their kids to Struff School if they need to on a BizNews farm. So there's so many avenues to explore in this partnership arrangement that we've got.
Yeah.
The difficulty is with not too many farms is that you could become almost, I'm going to use the word bored, because anybody who becomes bored of wine is bored with life. But you could become, what's the word?
Yeah, you need
You need a bit of variety in your life.
Yeah.
So to that end, you and Stuart came up with a better idea the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it was our idea as a collective, and you were very much part of it, Carrie. It's about looking for opportunities. Not all wine farms will produce a lot of a certain wine, vintage, whatever. And there's an opportunity to be able to have a limited amount of wine from a farm
for a short period of time.
Yeah. And for me, that's a great opportunity for us as a business, but for the community, again, that you'll be able to get, if we get 20 or 30 cases of a wine that's quite hard to get, it'll be a great opportunity.
Yep. Pop out a quick newsletter, say to everybody, we've got a few cases of this. So that is part of the offering that we're looking forward to. And then the other thing that I wanted to speak to you about is BizNews has a very successful investment conference twice a year. And I know what everybody's thinking. They're thinking, Clive Eksteen, you can just look at him, he's naughty, we know. Alex a bit naughty. Dudu, all of them are naughty. Stuart's naughty. Lord knows what Danita, I don't know, she's just joined us, and Michael, I don't know. It's not what you're thinking, guys. It's actually a serious and highly intellectual and very, very engaging conference. And you and me are sort of trying to slow dance around how we fit the wine in. Talk to the listeners about that.
Yeah, so the conference it happens it's actually a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with a dinner on the Thursday night. A phenomenal event. It gives you just insights into people that you would never get an opportunity to listen to, and it's proved to be very successful with the community. And we started off with pretty stock standard wine tasting, so everyone gets a glass, and you and I You've been to lots. I've been to quite a few wine tastings, and we really want to try and do it the BizNews way. So, we want to integrate the wine, obviously the wine shop, but the wine and one of our, or multiple of our partners at the event, where it forms part of one of the dinners, and then yourself, the winemaker, the owner of the establishment, can sit down with people and have a one-on-one discussion, and generally you've got quite a few people at the table, and questions can flow from there. You can taste it, and you can move on, and really take the wine appreciation as part of the event, and not a wine tasting,
a formal wine tasting. And as you say, we've all been to a million of those. Not that they're bad, but I think that personal touch is far more important in the BizNews frame of things.
Yeah, and
quite frankly.
the Champagne Sports Resort is just a phenomenal destination venue. I every time I go there, it's just wow. And to have a good meal, great content, and some
after a day where you've had your head shoved full of the most unbelievable intellectual overload. And you boys really do manage to get a very impressive lineup of guest speakers. I don't know who we've got there this year. Tell me.
No, Alec
or is it a secret?
Alec does all the speakers. We've got a very, very strong lineup of speakers. It would take me a while to go through them all.
Is there still a space if somebody who's listening wants to come?
There is. We've got about 23 rooms left. And once those rooms are taken,
then it's finito.
Sold up signs.
That's amazing, because that Champagne Sports is a big
good venue,
big place.
Yeah.
What's the name of the bloke who runs it all for us? Anton.
Well,
Andre, what's his name?
No, there's Philip West, Andries Brink, and Kogan. And Kogan
is one of
the
those
go-to
people.
man.
He's almost got wings and a halo. Nothing is too much trouble. Honestly, guys, I'm not just saying because I'm associated here, but I was blown away by that conference last year.
Well, it's the way we try and work. They partner with us on the event.
Yeah.
And we did the first one in the middle of COVID, and we could only have 50 people there. And now it's grown to over 200.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's the first week of March, hey?
You arrive I think it's the Tuesday the 1st, 2nd and 3rd, and you depart on the 4th.
That's if you can get over the potholes in the road on the way to...
Yeah, you got to drive carefully.
I'm thinking of buying a 4x4 just to go down to the conference, quite frankly, because my little low-profile tires are not going to get over that lot. But anyway, so that's what's happening in March. If anybody is listening and wants to, just get in touch with Clive at BizNews. BizNews.com.
Clive at BizNews.com.
That's easy enough. And whilst we're there, we're going to take as much advantage as we can of a platform to try and entrench the wine aspect as much as possible. You know why? I think that BizNews is a very serious company. They're serious about journalism. They're serious about what they do. And Alec is, in my estimation, one of the best journalists in the country at the moment. He gives everybody a hearing. Everybody's allowed a platform within reason. And I think that that's what journalism is all about. So take that very serious cerebral side of BizNews and apply a serious and cerebral approach to buying of wine, but add a hint of fun and fabulousness, because wine is just fun.
Yeah.
It just lightens the mood a bit, I think, in BizNews. I think they're really, really well integrated. If I were to say to you, have you got a favorite wine?
It's a tough one. I'm a bit of a Sauvignon Blanc. I like my Sav B. I'm a bit of a Philistine when it comes. I've stuck to it, but at the moment it's the sea salter from Grootepos. I think
How amazing is that wine?
Sensational.
Do you know, I tasted it 2 years ago. I think this is maybe their third vintage that's coming up this year of sea salter. And Nick Pence came into the shop one day with his little marketing guy with curly hair. I'm trying to remember his name.
I dealt with Nick and Peter.
Anyway, Nick and came into the shop and said, did I want to try this sea salter? And I'm not a Sauvignon Blanc girl. I always say she's a bit ordinary. If she went to the matric dance, she wouldn't be asked to dance. I've always said that. I've had to change my mind, and I've had to apologize when I tasted sea salter, because he's put a splash of Semillon in there as well, and it is just so delicious. You almost can eat a bottle for lunch. It's so delicious. So we know you like sea salter, and you allowed one red. Do you ever drink red wine?
I do. I tell you what I enjoyed. I do. I love the. Is it the one man
band?
Yeah, from I think it's. Listen, we incredibly privileged to, work.
I know.
And part of your work is to have a lot of fun, and
Isn't it nice?
To have that one that jumps out at me.
Have we in Vigo gone into this year's conference?
Well, you and I have got to make a phone call. So
we've got
a few phone calls to make.
We've got a few phone calls to make, because there's also Donna and Etienne Base from Fred and List, and we can't talk about the BizNews Wine Shop and not speak about Fred and List, because I think that their ethos and their business philosophy is one that really needs to be encapsulated. Do you know that they don't put their wines into competitions really? They don't put their wines into John Platter Guide. They've been very, very careful about how they've marketed, and they have always said that their underpinning reason for being there is to make wine for the people.
Fantastic.
So it's a bit like, I don't know, Volkswagen Beetle. People don't remember that anymore. We'll say the City Golf of wines. Everybody has one, you know. Everybody can drive a City Golf and know that it's not going to let them down. It might get stolen, but it's not going to let them down, and it's not going to cost a hell of a lot of money to. And that's in no way demeaning. They've got top-end wines as well. But the Base Boys have brought fantastic quality to the South African wine industry at the right price.
I drank a couple of bottles of the
I think you got some of the Sauvignon Blanc. You would. It's the Sauvignon Blanc.
Very, very nice.
Is it?
On a hot day, I was down at Sinsa. And on a beautiful day, it was so.
Was it delish?
They do. And I was down at the farm, Fred and List. I went past it on the last weekend.
Did you pop in and say hello?
I didn't. I was rushing.
Clive, because
Carrie.
To your point, yes, of course you were rushing to the next one for a lunch date. So to your point of wrapping up a parcel for BizNews members, anybody who doesn't visit Fred and List is stupid. It is
beautiful.
Absolutely exquisite. It really, really, really is a beautiful farm. And they have venues. They've got a bakery there.
It's stunning.
It is absolutely beautiful, and we will go on to do lots more interviews, and we'll chat to the owners and the winemakers and the what have yous. But everybody does need to know, who's listening or who wants to be a part of this very happy, gorgeous, laid-back space, is that if you need advice or you want us to help you, phone.
Yep, phone or email us.
Email us.
Our emails are on all the on the wine shop. Your email, your newsletter, and I would encourage everyone to register for the newsletter, because it's a great way for us to communicate without overly, too much.
Yes.
And we'll promote. We'll have promotions through that, and there's a lot of good advice from you.
Yes. So I don't even know how to get my newsletter myself. How does everyone? These boys are worrying. They really are worrying about me.
On the shop, there's a subscribe button there, and when you buy one, it does ask you if you want to subscribe, so you can. And it's a great way of us staying in touch with you as the community, and of our partners letting you know what's going on at the respective.
And then to the last point, the pricing is very competitive. I think largely it's cellar door pricing.
It's very competitive. Remembering that it gets delivered to you. It gets delivered to you, and for me, that's I've buy one through it, obviously, and it arrives at the door here
and
a couple of days
bought, because I tested once or twice, and it comes like in 2 days' time.
Yeah. Generally, we say give us, we say 10 days, but generally it'll arrive within 4 or 5 days at worst.
Yes. Okay, so guys, I think I'm just going to unashamedly tell everybody that they must go onto that website and have a look and jump into that shop and read the newsletters and see which wines they are that we are suggesting you buy. It's still summertime. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's time for drinking lovely crispy whites and pretty pinks, and that's another one from Fred and Liz. That Jess Rosé is delicious. Yeah. So go in and have a look, and then as at today, the Wildekranz wines are in as well, which are going to be fun. And watch the space, because we are going to put together some kind of a little tour of sorts.
Yes, I think that's our next little exercise, and I think it'll be great fun.
Oh, and we've got a competition coming up, which I'm not going to tell them about today. We'll put that competition into next week's newsletter, but there's quite a fun competition coming up around Grote Post.
Fantastic.
Clive, thanks so much. You are an absolute pleasure and a treasure to work with. You boys are unbelievable. Thanks for giving us the space, and here's to a really successful shop.
And thank you, Carrie, for all you do, and may 2022 be a great year.
Thank you.